Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Is this Northside Plugged?
It is Northside Plugged.
That deserves a bell ring. Welcome to Northside Plugged.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you all for being patient. Thank you all for tuning in with us on another Thursday here at Q4 Radio, Northside Plugged. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you all. Hope everyone's having a beautiful Thursday out here. It is Thursday, May 26th. Last Thursday in May. It is June next week. It's crazy.
Time's flying.
Time always flies. But, we got to keep these next couple hours, 1.5, 2 hours, however long we'll be in here, as our favorite time of the week. So we got to keep that going. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe. G Money, how you doing?
I'm doing. Oh, my neck was not doing well that second. Dang, almost broke my neck right there. Jeez. Other than that,
That would have been a terrible way to start the show. That would have been a brutal
that
way to
would
start.
not have been fun. But other than that, I'm doing well. I can't complain. I appreciate you asking. John is texting us. Shout out John from Q4 as always. Yeah, like you said, I'm always happy to be here at Q4 Radio on Northside Plugged. Thursdays are always good. Thirsty Thursday is always beginning. Want to introduce a new guest of ours that has graciously bestowed us with his presence. a great friend of mine from back in the day. We went to Lane Tech together. My good friend Chris Orange is in the building.
Yes, sir. How y'all doing?
How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I'm well.
Excellent. We're super happy to have you on. Very spontaneous to have you on. Didn't know this was gonna happen, but the spontaneous things in life are usually the best things in life. So definitely know that we're gonna have a great episode.
Absolutely.
And very much appreciate you coming here, and I appreciate us being able to reconnect because it's been a long time, and we were able to talk before the show, but now being here on the show and introducing you, welcome aboard, and we're on this journey together for the next 2 hours.
Let's get it. I'm excited, man. I'm ready. I love what y'all doing, and I appreciate y'all for having me on as well. So.
Thank you. Oh, absolutely.
Of course. Happy to have you on. Happy to have another show here on this Thursday. Make sure you like and subscribe. Like I said, follow us on all your favorite social medias, especially Instagram. That's where we post a lot of our good stuff. So make sure you follow us there and subscribe to our updates, notifications, all that good stuff, so you can keep in line with when we have guests, when extra content drops, all that good stuff. So make sure you're tuning in for all that exclusive content. Ooh.
Absolutely, because it is too exclusive, ladies and gents. But I think before we, how do we want to start? Okay, I know how to start. We're going to talk to Chris a little bit. We're going to let you guys get to know him a little bit, open the floor for him, and then I think we'll get into the more serious topics of the night, because that was kind of the sole purpose of tonight, and Chris is a excellent person to have on this show to be able to dive into the issues that are going on right now here in our country. So we'll get into that, and then we'll ease the rest of the night with our usual sports, music, current events, topics, all that good stuff that you guys come to love with Northside Plug. But yeah, we'll dive into Chris Orange. Let you. So we're here. We're reacquainting. It's good to be back in Chris Orange's presence. He's always been a good, kind soul. And yeah, man, I'll let you introduce yourself and tell the people a little about yourself.
Yeah. So as y'all know already, my name is Chris Orange, aka Solid Six. I do music. Really big into fitness, but from Chicago, west side of Chicago, born and raised. Man, I went to Lane Tech. That's how I met Gareth. And
Yes, sir.
Man, we've been tight, since high school days.
Yes, sir.
And I went to NIU, Northern Illinois University. Got my bachelor's in exercise science. That's what really sparked the passion for fitness.
Congrats, man.
In addition to that, with football,
Yeah.
did that for 4 years there, and now just trying to figure out life. Like I said, I'm pursuing music. I got the album coming out in the summer. I've already released 2 EPs. One EP being released next month. So the album is a West Side Story.
Nice. That's what it's called.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about that, man. I worked on it for maybe a year and a half plus to finally perfect it.
Right.
And with all my experiences throughout life so far, And especially in the last 2 years with the pandemic and working as a teacher, full-time, substituting, working on the south side of Chicago, being able to blend all those experiences, those life experiences, and put it into the art, I made something special. So I'm excited for it.
Nice.
But, that's a spiel on me real quick. Like, man, what you got for me? You got any questions for me?
Oh, we got 2 hours full of him. For sure, man. But I guess since last time we saw each other, I feel like obviously a lot of time has passed. For the people that don't know, we probably haven't seen each other since 2014 graduation.
Like you said, graduation.
Yeah, which seems like a long time. And obviously a lot of life happens. And like Chris said, he went to school and graduated just as BossDan and I, and a lot of life and a lot of experiences, a lot of lessons, a lot of knowledge is gained, right? And we grow, and it's crazy. The last time we saw each other, we were probably boys, and now we're young men. And
absolutely.
it was cool to have a nice good conversation before the show and reacquaint, and we're the type of people where we can just pick right back up, and it's all love, it's all good. It's like we just saw each other yesterday, so. I knew it was all love and all good vibes with Chris, and that's what it's always been, So to kind of circle back, so since last time we've seen each other, I know you said you dived into kinesiology, right? That was your major. So you've always been sporty. You were playing football, right?
Yeah.
How would you say, that experience was for you in college and going through kinesiology and, taking the next level for yourself? But then I guess at the same time, part two of my question is, through that, where did you find, like, okay, now I'm interested in music. I want to start making music and expressing myself. How did you start growing into the passions that you're doing now?
Yeah, so, man, well, first off, at NIU, like, the experience, I'm so thankful for my experience. And it was due to the major I picked, kinesiology, and my route of, pleasure, becoming a Sigma. I'm a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, the Hollywood Epsilon Gamma chapter.
Okay.
Shout out to the mob. But just studying kinesiology is a love and a hate with it, because I love the information that I got, because it's the study of the human body, the study of movement. All the information that we learned, and the teachers and the professors and them pushing us, we learned so much. Like, when I graduated, we were the first group in 2018 to go to the Olympic Training Center after graduation, like 2 days after graduation.
Wow.
They took it. Yeah, they drove us up there to Colorado Springs, Colorado. We stayed there for like 5 days, met Olympians, got to ask them all types of questions.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so the experience was just insane. We learned so much, but here's the hate part of it.
Yeah.
It was so hard getting a fair paying job, or like at the very least a fair paying job in the field.
Right.
And I think people they don't realize how important it is, like their health. I think that's one of the biggest problems we have in this country. Like, we're not prioritizing our health. And I saw it even in teaching, like physical education, PE teachers, like people sweeping under the rug. They think, oh, whatever. But it's so important. Like, everything else can flow after that. You get your physical health right, then you can get your mental health right, and it helps your mental health. And like I said, it's just undervalued. But I love the information. I love training. I love coaching people. I love working out. Like, it's one of my passions. It's one of my fitness. And how I got into the music, well, 2 things. I'll say this. Like, when I really dove into my fitness, I made a fitness page, and I realized, like, how creative I could be with it. Because I used to say, like, I'm not an artist, like, and because I was talking to someone one day, and they were like, you sound like you sound like a creative, and I'm like, I can't draw, I'm not an artist, and I was so close-minded with that.
Right.
But then it's like, when she said you don't have to be able to draw to be, creative or an artist, then it's like that opened up my world with, like, my fitness and just being creative and doing things like that on Instagram and creating a page and just doing different things. And then Nipsey Hussle, be a huge inspiration to me. Like, I listened to his music, and he has said a couple of things, like, one of the, I think we were talking about this earlier, like, one of the most distinguishing qualities about him and anybody else, he didn't quit, and he had this passion for music, and he wanted to pursue it, and he owed it to himself. And I've always loved music. Like me and my cousin, when we were like shorties, like 10 or 11, we made a group called the Bell Boys, and we that's my mom's maiden name, and that was his last name. So, you know, we were the Bell Boys, we were making music. My stepbrothers, they were making music since I was a shorty, like since I can remember, seriously. Like the earliest I can remember, like probably I was 6 or 7, and they were like probably 11 and 12. They've been making music since then, and they're still making music.
That's tough.
So that music has just been in my life since the very beginning.
Sure.
You know? And then just the passion for like Wayne and Jeezy, T.I., the foundation of those things, J. Cole, like, and then seeing how other artists like Kevin Gates and then taking it back to Pac, like I draw inspiration from all of that, and it just motivated me to like, okay, I can do this because I love it. I have a passion for it. I study it, so I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And now just putting my own spin on it too. Like I study a lot of history, you know, Huey P. Newton, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, the Black Panther Party in general, and I mix that in because I'm trying to talk about like not only my life, but I'm taking it in an approach where like I'm just sitting back and analyzing everything that's going on in the world, in our city, and I want to address it. Not only address it, but like give my experience, maybe even offer solutions, and that's kind of how I got into that.
Yeah. Well, no, and I feel like that's very showing of your character, you know, the history and just everything you said. It's all, whether it took form in the art form, like before, you know, you actually were like, okay, this is what I want to do. You've always had the attributes for it, because I feel like you've just always had the insight, you know, you've always had the maturity, you've had the self-awareness, you know, you're a good person, you know. I mean,
thank you.
Of course, yeah, for sure. I mean, none of us are perfect, right? But you know, I think you've built a strong reputation, you know. And this is just from, you know, back in the day, and I can only imagine how much more you've grown, you know. But you've always had a strong reputation, you know. Like people always saw you as just as a light, bro, for real. You know, I feel
really
like
appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely, and you know, being on the football team.
Words be hard.
Yeah, words are hard, and we're doing a whole podcast.
Words are hard.
You know, I feel like doing football and whatnot, it's easy to be kind of in the limelight, you know. But at the end of the day, I think you held that responsibility per se in a mature manner, you know, where I feel like others were kind of immature and it could be, you know, a little arrogant and let that quote unquote social status get to their heads. I never saw that in you, bro, and I think, you know, other people saw that in you as well, and you've just built respect, and I think through everything else that you're doing, you know, it's everything that you're gonna do and that you've been doing in life, bro, whether or not you're seeing the results that you want to see right now, you're going to be successful, bro, because you know the purposes to everything that you're doing. You know, even if it doesn't all necessarily make sense in the moment, you know, you just have that vision for yourself. You know, I'm just speaking from an outside perspective, but that's just kind of the vibe that I've always gotten from you, bro. You know?
I appreciate that. And then, bro, I can't even tell you how much it means. Like, because it's like you've known me for so long, and like you said, we were able to just pick back up like we never left, and then to hear that from you, like it, like I appreciate it. Like, genuinely, thank you so much.
Much love. I don't say things that I don't mean, bro. Especially on a platform like this, you know, where people can see. You know, I never bring on, you know, I would never promote anybody or, you know, that isn't on like good stuff, good positive things, or just a good person, you know. So you're doing good things, my friend. You're doing good things. Before I get too deep, BossDan, do you have any questions for our good friend?
I just had one and I lost it. I feel terrible. I literally just had one, and it's slipping my mind, so I don't have one. I apologize.
It is all good. Well, so you said that, you know, you have a love-hate relationship with kinesiology. Now, being that you have graduated and you have your degree, and I mean, we talked a little bit before, and especially whether it be sports management or kinesiology, just kind of this whole sports realm, it's tough to get a job. And I'm super glad that you said it earlier, because it's like, if you're not in this field, people don't understand that, you know? So do you maybe want to go a little deeper into your perspective outside of being in school and now like really trying to pursue a career in that, you know, outside of your artistry? Like what is the pursuit of trying to find a career in the sports realm like for you in this day and age?
Man, it's an uphill climb, bro, because it's really not what you know, it's who you know. Like, I think
sure.
with sports
Absolutely.
is that like times 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's like you really have to have that in. And even if you have that in, like, once you get introduced into it, like, you're gonna have to put in so many like long hours. Like, I'm talking about probably 50, 60, 70 hour work weeks where you're getting paid like pretty poorly. And if you don't have that like undying passion for what you're trying to do, if that's not like the only thing, if you're not trying to be a coach or whatever, and that's your long-term vision, that's what you want to do, and you're ready to sacrifice family time and this and that for that, then it's difficult to like put all your chips into that. Like, it really is. Like, and I actually wanted to pursue a master's in sports management because I think we talked about it earlier. Like, I took a couple sports management classes and I just enjoyed them so much.
For sure.
Like the business side of it, and then just all the topics that we discussed, I loved it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, I don't want to get this degree and then have to struggle to find another job that even just pays me a fair wage, you know? And although I enjoy this, it can't be my all in. Like, this isn't like where I'm gonna put all my chips in. So that's when I got into teaching. Well, first I went into sales after graduation, you know. Worked at Enterprise and got a really good foundation of customer service. Like, I think that's something that's very underrated nowadays, customer service.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, man. And y'all probably have your own experiences with that. Like, customer service is such an underrated thing nowadays, and Enterprise does a very good job at that. So I just want to shout out to them. And then I started working at Verizon. And I learned how to sell. Now, the one thing I love about sales is when you get good at it, you can make a lot of money. So that's always been something that I can like fund everything else that I want to do with sales. I'm getting back into that. But I also got into teaching, and similar to what you were saying earlier when we talked, like, when you think back to like 8 years ago or whatever, never thought that I would like be teaching. Like I said, I thought I was gonna be a firefighter now at this point, but like I got into teaching and started with substitute teaching, and then I became a full-time teacher. And I know we'll probably get into that a little bit more later, but like the perspective and just the experience, and I want to say everything that comes with it, like the perspective and experience in itself is just a huge thing. Like, I saw so much and learned so much. It's like, you know, you read about all these things, but when you're in that like situation, when you're in that like when you're in yourself, you see, like, you really see, I guess it's like firsthand experience. And then the duty, like it was a how can I say, it's a duty. Like, it's so much weight on it, like, but it's like a cross you carry, but I carried it with pride. Like, you're a teacher, like, you're some of these kids like parents in a way sometimes.
Oh,
you know?
for sure.
Like,
Sometimes more.
Yeah. So it's like I carried that with pride, absolutely. So I guess that's my experience outside of college. And like, you know, so to sum it up, I don't want to get too long-winded.
Oh, no, that's cool. Yeah, no, that's what we're here for. You know, you can express whatever you want to express. But yeah, no, I feel you. And we all, through our own experiences, have pretty similar experiences. Working with some with kids. Dan's worked with kids too, doing some sales. Dan's done sales as well. I've done both of those. Yeah, man, I feel, and especially with you know, our field, and like you said, it's tough, and you gotta know the ins. And I mean, Dan and I have gone to you know, different career events, right, where you literally are face to face with managers or just representatives from the Bulls, the Bucks, the Chicago Sky, the Cubs, all of them, you know. And you can literally pull up and you can be, you know, all dressed up and you do all this. You pay the $40 to even be there or whatnot. You feel me? The finesse.
Such a finesse.
The finesse. They finessing the crap out of you, bro. To all you young bucks listening. But I mean, it's still a good opportunity because it's good experience, and you can maybe get your foot in the door. But realistically, I mean, you're meeting them for 5 minutes, if that, you know, a couple minutes, whatever. And then your resume gets thrown into another stack of however many people are in line. You know, I mean, Dan and I went last year. It was at Winchester Arena, right? And like there was a big line to even get in because there's hella people, right? And it's all sports management people like us, you know, it's like a bunch of people our age. And so fast forward, Dan gets in, you know, through check-in and all that. Dan gets in first and then I get in. You know, we're kind of scoping the scene. He got the first look. Bless Dan's soul, bro. He found the Bulls, and that was my number one go-to.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, Dan was looking for like Cubs, Bulls too. I'll let him speak for himself, but like my point being is that Dan, by the grace of God, found the Bulls, and there were like maybe like 5 or 6 people in line, dude. So we jetted straight to that. You feel me? Like
wasn't my first rodeo in those parts.
Yeah, Dan knows what's up, exactly. So I was blessed to be there with him. But even so, you know, we went through it. We went through the motions, had our conversations, blah blah blah. And you know, I can't speak for Dan, but you know, like, I wasn't blessed to be able, you know, I put in my applications after I did everything that I had to do, you know, and it's just tough. But at the end of the day, like you were saying, you just can't give up. And, you know, whether it's that position or another position, whatever, like in the sports realm, you just have to just take that initiative and go put your head down and go hard. Dan, you want to add to that?
I just had a question for Chris. As a guy who was in sales and failed at sales, I'm curious as to what are you a big like money is the motivation kind of guy, or do you put like images of like what you want to achieve like as like income levels as that pushes you to be better at sales, or is it just like kind of the success that kind of drives you? Because for me it was kind of hard to kind of just wait on the numbers or just like look at the numbers and try to it just couldn't motivate me enough. So I'm just curious, for a guy who was in sales, went to teaching, and then is going back to sales, like what pushes you or what's pulling you back into sales?
I'm smiling because I love this question because it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
Like, I worked as a teacher, and it's
God bless you.
yeah,
Teaching's hard.
yeah, and you don't get paid a glorious salary.
No, teachers are the most underpaid profession in the world, or at least in America, they're underpaid, terribly underpaid.
Yeah, and
Keep going.
And you know, like, I just got to a point where, like, you know, I love my job, or I love the duty that my job had, but just under the conditions and especially the wage I was being paid, I'm like, you know what, I'm also kind of tired of struggling at the moment.
Sure.
So I'm like, yeah, no, I'm ready to get back in sales and I'm ready to run it up. Like, so I'm absolutely motivated, but it's also that I like perfection. You know, I'm a perfectionist. I'm a Virgo. I don't know if y'all follow like astrology and all, but I'm a Virgo. And just to point it out, like some of the Virgos in the world, we got Beyonce, we had Kobe Bryant, Michael Jackson, just to name a few. Wale, one of my favorite artists.
Shout out Wale.
Yes, sir. So we're perfectionists, you know, and I love the psychology behind sales, and I love being able to earn the right to sell to somebody. So I don't just, when I'm selling, I don't just like sell you BS. Like, I'm not about to just throw this in your face. Like, no, if I'm in sales, I'm going to find out exactly what you need. I'm going to find out what you came in for. And then I'm going to dig a little deeper, and I'm going to find out what might enhance your life, or like what might enhance your experience in whatever. And then I'm going to present you a solution. And it's ultimately up to you to chase it, but I'm going to build that rapport with you first. And I'm doing this because I want to be the best at what I do, whatever it is. Like, I wanted to be the best teacher when I was teaching. So I want to be the best salesman, and I don't want no boomerangs coming back at me. In sales, we used to call it boomerangs. Like, if you sell something and it come back, I mean, you didn't do it in a, what's the word I'm looking, an ethical way.
Sure.
I'm not with that. Like, I don't want no boomerangs. So like, it was just a strive for like perfection and the compensation. And when I was working at Verizon a couple years ago, when I was working part-time, like 24 to 28 hours a week, and I made close to like 60 grand.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, part-time.
Damn.
When I made close to 60 grand, I'm like, oh yeah, like this is, I can see myself doing this, you know, periodically when I need to, or whatever. But like, and I like I said, I enjoy the psychology of it too. So yeah, that's my take on sales. So like, if any young bucks are out there, like, sales can be fun, and it can be very you can make a lot of money doing it. I can't think of the word I'm looking for right now. But
for sure. And I think, man, like anybody that's pursuing business or pursuing like an entrepreneurial lifestyle, you don't have to pursue sales per se, but you need that experience. So even if you just get a job at whatever, like I worked at Best Buy, bro. I was selling home. I was working at home theater. You feel me? So I was selling TVs and video games and all that, bro. And it was cool. It was fun. It's not personally me, but at the same time, like it's applicable, especially to like my music and Northside Plugged, whatever. It's like we're selling ourselves. We're selling the content. It's exactly that. And once you go through those experiences that you go through in life, you can find how to apply that sales. And it's important to have those skills, because at the end of the day, if you don't know how to sell anything or sell your own brand or whatnot, the world is kind of just you're gonna be the consumer basically, right? It's a world of being a producer or being a consumer, and what are you gonna fall under, and it's either you be finessed or you're the finesser, especially with sales. You feel me? Like it's a Shark Tank, bro. And man, like you know how it is. And I'm sure, thank God you're a good person. I'm sure there were a lot of opportunities where, like, if you wanted to, because you're good at it, you could see an opportunity where you could squeeze every dollar out of somebody, right? But like you said, it's that ethical standpoint and knowing, like, okay, yeah, I'm here, but I have a responsibility, a duty, as you say, to take care of this person, to make sure that they're not that boomerang. I don't want. Yeah, I can finesse their pockets, but they may come back super mad, like it's not what they're looking for, and then what goes around comes around in this world, and it makes you look bad at the end of the day.
Yeah, like
right?
we talked about earlier, reputation, like that's huge. Like as a man, I feel like all we got in this world is our reputation.
For sure, respect. For sure, and yeah, I think now more than ever, that's so important, bro. And I think, especially in a world where you have so many people trying to pursue, being a podcaster or trying to just be famous, basically. Everybody's chasing clout, right? Due to social media and whatnot, I think a lot of people get lost in the they forget their self-respect, and they go about selling themselves, but not. I don't know, man. I'm kind of going in circles at this point, but it all goes down to respect. Just be yourself, do good things, and follow suit. Okay, we're getting too generalized and too deep now. Time to wrangle this episode back by the horns. So thank you for sharing all that, Chris. Thank you for allowing us to get a little deeper into who you are and what you've done and catching us up, because I know the people are interested and want to know for sure.
Shouts out DJ who said Lane Tech finest in the building.
Yes, sir. Talking about me, or you talking about Chris? You got to clarify that. I'm just kidding.
I don't know if you guys know, but actually on Monday was the City Public League Championship game between Lane Tech and Brooks College Prep, and Lane Tech won 2-1 in 7 innings.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I just wanted you both to know that.
Thank you, BossDan.
I just wanted to bring that up. And I was bringing this because I knew you wanted it, and then luckily enough, our other guest was also from Lane Tech as well. So I just wanted to bring that up.
School of Champions. That's what we're called, man. That's who we are. So that's what we do.
Yep. Thank you for that, Dan. I appreciate that.
Of course.
The hospitality here, man, is wonderful.
We try. We're trying to be good peoples over here. We're evil on the as soon as the cameras go. We're plotting world domination. So watch out. But
that's my evil face.
I do want to switch the gears here, because this, now that we've introduced you to Chris and given him the opportunity to show you guys who he is. I think that furthers the ground, so that opens the floor for why we're here today, and not solely, but why we wanted to be here today and talk about the recent events that happened on Tuesday in Uvalde, Texas. The another unfortunate, tragic, too many superlatives and adjectives to add to that. Of the events that happened in Texas, the shooting at Robb Elementary School.
Yes.
Where at this point, there's the investigation is still ongoing, but at this point, 19 children have been killed, as well as 2 teachers. So God bless their souls, rest in peace, hearts and souls, and and this is the big topic, right? Prayers, thoughts and prayers aren't enough, but we still extend and reach that, throw those out to the families, because another unimaginable situation going on in our country, especially, with Buffalo and having elderly black people, right? And just that being a whole racially motivated situation. And then you have this situation with young children, where that's the safe, that's supposed to be the safest environment for these kids and for anybody, is to be in a school, to be learning. And it's just terrible, and it's unfortunate. And, I just want to lay the groundwork there, but I kind of just want to open up the floor to my friends here and let them kind of express what they want to express, and then we can dive in and go from there. So I don't know who wants to say what they want to say.
Man, I guess I'll start off. First, I want to say, like you said, it's nowhere near enough, but I have to extend my prayers, my thoughts, my condolences to all the families involved in like what happened in Buffalo and Texas. It's really a tragedy to see these two things happen back to back. And I think at this point in this country, we're living in a constant state of fear. Mm-hmm. Like, how can we not be? Because like you said, for kids, for children, like, they're in school, that's supposed to be, like you said, one of the safest places for them to be. And me being a school teacher, like, obviously nothing like to this magnitude happened, but I've seen like other problems where kids don't feel safe. But mm-hmm. but this, the fact that it keeps happening like this, something has got to change. Like, I mean, this is where we have to take a stand. And even with what happened in Buffalo, like with the racially motivated shooting, like, something has got to change. Like, mm-hmm. a stand has to be taken. Like, when do we realize again that the power is really in the people? Mm-hmm. Like, when do we realize that? Because it's not going to stop. Mm-hmm. Like, freedom is never given. It has to be taken. And the power is in the people. We have to organize and mobilize to actually make that real change happen. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, when is it going to stop? Yeah. It's not going to stop if we don't do anything to stop it. Right. Because the same way we can be inspired by good, people are inspired by evil. Exactly. Too. So they see this and they're inspired and they want to do it themselves. Mm-hmm. And it is nothing but evil. Like, I mean, people can, and they can make the arguments that, it's mental health and this and that. But these acts are evil. Mm-hmm. Like, in nature, they're evil. Mm-hmm. So there's so many things that need to be done, like on like national levels, but also on like the smaller levels, like in our communities, like mm-hmm. our own communities. Like, people really need to understand and figure out who they're electing as these officials, right. And look at your own laws and things, like in your governments, in your neighborhoods, in your communities. Look at those things, but also speak out on just the simple injustices on an everyday basis. You have to, because if we don't start it there, we won't fix it on a grand scheme, on a grand on the grand scheme of things. On a bigger scale, we won't fix it then. If you don't check the small stuff, how can you check the big stuff? For sure. So people have to stand up. Like, they have to stand up for themselves, because a lot of it is rooted in capitalism too. Exactly. Like, capitalism is destroying this country. Mm-hmm. Like, it was built on capitalism, like where we are today. Mm-hmm. But it's also the same thing that is destroying this country. It's like we're constantly caught up in this rat race. Yep. And it's like something like this happens, and we mourn about it on social media, and there's a couple of posts for like maybe a week or two, and then people forget, because they're constantly in this rat race. Like, we got to pay the bills, we got to go to work, we got to do this, we got to do that. I don't think people realize if we organize and everybody just stop what they're doing for like 2 or 3 days, mm-hmm. they would have to change. Mm-hmm. Even on a small level, like, 'cause you've seen it like with strikes at jobs, right? Like, what happens when everybody walks out?
Can't do the job.
Yeah, they have to change something. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's easier said than done. It's easy for me to say that, but like, it needs to be put out there that something has to change, and it starts with, I think, organizing as a people, and then mobilizing, like actually putting in the work. But it's just terrible to see. Like, parents should never have to bury their kids, like period. And in these circumstances, it's just we've seen it happen before, and it's just so terrible that it could have been avoided.
Yep.
That's the thing that gets me. These are things that could have been avoided. And as far as like the racially motivated shooting in Buffalo, my heart is heavy with that one, especially too, because I don't even know where to start with that one. Like, some people are just have such evil in their hearts because we look different, you know, because I look different. And it's rooted. I do a lot of studying as far as history. Like I said, I studied a lot about the Black Panthers, and I studied a lot of like why racism even exists. And a lot of it in this country exists because the people who got this nation started, like, you know, in the 1700s, and it's hard to say got the nation started. I mean, got it to where it is now, per se. Like, they were of white skin, and they made laws that benefited solely just them. And in making those laws that benefited solely just them, they became the hierarchy. So then people started to buy into the fact that anybody that did not look like them were not the hierarchy. They were, in fact, lower than them, like on a human level. And then that's where comes the 3/5 of a person, like all things like that. But that's where it's rooted in. And then when you take that and you multiply it for over centuries of years, 300-400 years, then it becomes, you're mentally like trapped. Like maybe you're not physically enslaved anymore, but you're mentally enslaved, because not only do people who, you know, of white skin like believe that, but like people my color, they bought into it. And now we're attacking each other, we're killing each other, and then it's like it doesn't help the issue. So we have to be released of these mental shackles first to, again, unite and take a stand with that as well. But unity is what's going to change the world. Love and unity, that's what we need more than anything. I want to say I'm a humanitarian. Like, I'm a humanitarian. So unity and love is what we need more than anything at this point. Unity, love, and some empathy.
Yeah.
But that's my 2 cents on that.
No, man, thank you for your words, bro, because you're spot on, absolutely, and you're the right person to share that, you know. And I know the people that are listening, so, you know, very much connect with what you're saying. BossDan?
Yeah, I agree with everything Chris said, and it's kind of hard to follow up that. And I've been trying to collect my thoughts all day in the past few days, just trying to decide where I wanted to go when we came in here, because I knew that we were going to be talking about this, and it's important for us to talk about this. And I'm getting kind of tired of us having to talk about this, because this isn't the first time that we've had to have this discussion on Northside Plugged.
For sure.
We briefly spoke about it last week during the Buffalo thing. We've spoken to it in the past about about every other event that's caused all the politics and everything like that. And like, thoughts and prayers are great, and they're needed, and they're important that we share that with the people that are affected, because it's hard to imagine that happening in your own lives. And I think that's what some people fail to realize, the ones that continue to blame other things besides like the immediate needs or the immediate issues that this country has, is that a lot of people sometimes are just so stuck in their own bubble that if it doesn't affect them, then they kind of just ignore it and move on. I think and social media has kind of helped create this sort of bubble, and thoughts and prayers are good, and you see everyone reposting all these things to share, and that's great and everything. But I agree with what Chris was saying, that we need love and compassion and empathy to start, and we need reform, and we need change. Like, those are the biggest things that we need in this country. Going back to what Chris said about the founding fathers, what is it, 300 something, almost 250 years, 300, we're closing in on 300 years, 250-ish, whatever, it's in this country. We're such a baby of a country compared to a lot of these European and Western cultures, that we've had to grow up as a country super fast. And and there's been a lot of great things that have come out of that quick growth, and we are the land of opportunity, and we are blessed to be in this country where other places don't have the things that we have on a daily basis that we take for granted, like clean water and sufficient energy and
sure.
all this transportation and things like that. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of things that this country needs fixed. And I think gun control and gun violence it has to be at the top of this list, along with the racial issues that stem from that are made to light because of these issues, and also just are in everyday lives that people that it doesn't affect, they don't see a need to change it, or they just don't feel an urgency to change anything. And that includes me as well, being a white male. I've been spoiled. I've been kind of just in this place where I don't necessarily need. I have a sense of urgency to do these things, and I think that I need to change that. And I think my perspective is always changing. I'm always growing in. Like, I think we said this before the show, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. You got to do more listening than you got to do talking. And I think sometimes some of the politicians that have been involved about this have been doing way too much talking and not enough listening. And the way that, and the funniest thing to me, and I hate talking politics, but we have to talk politics because this is the issue, and politics is a bunch of BS at the end of the day. It's just funny that some of these politicians who just say thoughts and prayers and don't call for action or anything like that are also the ones that have the NRA stuffing money into their pockets on a yearly basis. At the end of the day, politicians only really care about how they get paid. They say they care for the people that they represent in the county, the state, the country, whatever. But at the end of the day, they only do what's best for themselves, because that's all people care about is doing. At least people in positions of power like that only, I feel personally, sometimes only do things that are for themselves and selfish reasons. I don't know where I'm going with this. I kind of just started going off and letting my brain go on a tangent. But yeah, thoughts and prayers are great, but reform and change is necessary. Is way long overdue in so many aspects of this country. People that still abide by the Second Amendment, I think, are the funniest people, because when they wrote that in 1770 whatever, the best technology were muskets that took multiple minutes to reload that weapon. They weren't talking about assault rifles or handguns or anything like that. So the people that don't think that assault rifles need to be banned because it's in the Second Amendment, you need to really check yourself and realize that times change, and and to see that other countries have had these problems, but they are able to take care of them much more easily than we are. But we are so divided as a country that it's going to be an uphill battle. It's not going to be easy by any means to have this reform and change. No way is it going to be easy, but it's necessary, and it has to be done if we want these to end. And we can't just let this continue to be I can't think of the right word, but just something that happens because we want because Johnny Q in Texas really wants his gun collection in his closet, and he's like, oh, that's just a necessary evil, these school shootings. Like, that's absolute horse manure. Like, that doesn't have to be happening. There's no need for you to have so many guns in your house. And if you call this a necessary evil, then imagine it. Put yourself in those people's shoes. The families, the parents that have to go in and identify their children. Man, some of these people don't realize that if it doesn't affect them, then they don't see a necessary change is needed. Which is why this country is so screwed up, because everyone is stuck in their bubble that they don't need to change. Yeah. And it's just frustrating, and I'm losing my train of thought, and I'm gonna keep going if I don't stop. So I'm gonna let you guys say something before I kind of keep going.
Oh, no, that was perfect, man. And I want to thank Chris. I want to thank you. You know, you guys both hit it spot on. You know, and thank you for your perspectives. And just to add to that, and I had to sum all of that up in 3 words, bro. I feel like we are institutionalized in capitalism. Mm-hmm. You know, we are. Mm-hmm. These conversations that we have to have right now is we have to find the root of what's going on, you know, and I agree that we need unity, right? And we need empathy, and we need to have these conversations, and we need to come together. But we heard that in 2020, right? We heard that in 2012. We've heard, Trayvon. We've been hearing that, right? I'm not knocking what anybody is saying, but I'm just, kind of fact checking everything that we've been through, right? And it's for example, I caught yesterday some on CNN's like midday. So Governor Abbott of Texas and his whole
what a loser.
his whole slew of cowboy sheriff deputies behind him, were taking questions and comments and whatever from a panel of reporters and whatnot, and it was the same old thing. They're asking questions, they're inquiring on what the situation is, and exactly the point. How can what can we do to make sure that this never happens again, right? And I can't say everything like word for word of what he was saying, but basically it's just like his rebuttals and his arguments were like, oh, well, we did this in 2019, well, we set these laws up so that, we can prevent these types of situations from going on. And then another thing that he was saying was of course, again, all these quote unquote prestigious white people always love putting Chicago in their mouth. He was like, well, you look at places like Chicago that have strong gun laws, and you look at places like New York and other urban areas that he was listing, but he kept going back to Chicago. Like Chicago was his main point. And he was like, well, you look at places Chicago and you have all these people in the streets getting killed from gun violence. And he was like, well, I'm not trying to be that guy, and I'm not trying to be the one to compare, but we're basically undermining a school shooting and trying to compare it to everything that goes on in Chicago. And it's like, I get where you're coming from, bro, but these are two totally different situations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Similar but totally different. And you're just these guys just love pointing back to their past quote unquote accomplishments and things that they've done, but in reality, like, it's just all it's a ploy to distract and get away from their own self-interest, and that's keeping their job and keeping their power and maintaining their everyday lives, and they don't give a crap. Wake up, America. America doesn't give a crap about you. I'm gonna say it straight up. Like, it's what it is. Like, the system of what's going on, the structure of what's going on, they don't give a crap about you. They're going to make sure that if you're a white individual, that you're gonna be Gucci, you're gonna be Sitchy, you're gonna have the resources, but outside of that, we gotta work. We gotta bust our ass, bro. We got, speaking as a Mexican male. I'm half Mexican, half Irish, born in a Mexican family. And obviously Chris here being black. Like, we have to struggle. We have to. We've had to struggle, or should I say, our communities struggle. We have to fight that much harder for just the same resources that, again, no offense, BossDan, that, the white community is blessed to.
I take zero offense.
Just to lighten everything. We don't have as much access to the resources or whatnot. And it kind of summing it back up to the situation and asking, I get more of, I guess, a rhetorical question of like, why did this young individual choose to take all of these crazy actions, right? Like, why did he shoot his grandmother? Why was he texting this 15-year-old German girl supposedly and saying, yo, I just shot my grandma, and yo, I'm about to go shoot up an elementary school, right? Why did this crazy dude go in Buffalo to a random ass supermarket and kill all these people, right? It doesn't make sense. What is going on, right? And it's these, what makes these things, and now I apologize, I'm continuing to ramble, but it's like these random situations that like just happen in the spur of the moment, right? They happen in the spur of the moment, but so many are happening, right? Like there's the trend is that these random individuals, whether he's Latino, whether the majority of them are white, or whether you have a Frank James, right, that just goes and shoots up a subway station because he feels like it. Who knows? Like, it's just it's so, I mean, yeah, like we've seen the trend of the quote unquote lonely, you know, loser white kid or whatever, but I mean, it's just expanded to this issue that is affecting us all, you know. And if it's the trend, you know, outside of ethnicity, if the trend is, you know, younger male or male in general, then why in this country is this the trend, you know? And I'm just asking, you know, I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer. And that's the thing, that you go around, you go on these news channels, you talk to anybody, nobody has the answer. Right?
No.
So that's just what's so frustrating is we have these conversations, which I'm so blessed to be having. I'm blessed to have Chris here. You know, I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm just trying to be a realist, you know, and catch ourselves in the moment, because it's so easy to go up and put a post and say, you know, or put that black square, right, back in 2020 and say, hey, I'm standing in solidarity, which is great. I'm not knocking that. Please, you know, like we have to stand together. We have to unify. But what next, right?
And just to like interject, because man, you made so many good points. I do want to interject and say a couple of things. Like, first, I want to say history repeats itself.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
So, and I mentioned this to you earlier. I studied the Black Panthers a lot. You know, I read the book that Bobby Seale, one of the founders of the Black Panthers, wrote. And I read the book 2 summers ago. And what I found to be eerie was that, especially in black neighborhoods and black communities, the same problems that they were experiencing 40, 50, 60 years ago were the same problems we have now. Police violence, killing innocent black kids, just harassing the community, like, and basically setting up like their own territories, like in doing guerrilla warfare in black communities, like. Yeah. And just to be reading that, and this book is written in like 1970 or 80 or whatever, and they're talking about what happened in 1960, 70, whatever, and to see like, man, this is the exact same thing.
Everything's applicable, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing that's going on. So it's like, that part is great. That's why it's so important to know your history and study your history, because then you almost have a blueprint. You have a game plan. Like, you can kind of see the trends as they're happening, and then you can kind of avoid it, and you can see what went wrong, see what went right. So there's that. But then there's also the fact that I think you said something earlier. I think maybe it was like what the politician said, like in the black communities where like there's so much of this and that happening. I wanted to like talk about that a little bit too, because it's so easy for these politicians to say like people are getting gunned down in black communities and all this violence and stuff. But like, are we gonna ignore the fact that when black people had their own businesses and when they were thriving in their communities, these things were burned down, these things were tore down, and then you infest the communities with all these drugs, and then you have this whole big war on drugs, but you're corrupting black communities with drugs. And if you go into a lot of black communities, you see so many liquor stores, and then you're just dropping off these loads of guns in these communities. I saw a video the other day on Facebook, and this looks like middle schoolers. I taught middle schoolers, so it looks like a bunch of middle schoolers with all these big ass guns, like just guns in general. Like, little kid was saying, we got 100 Glockies in here. I'm just like, what? Yeah. And it's scary because it's so easy for you to say this is going on in the communities, but like, man, this has been allowed to happen. Not only has it been allowed to happen, but it's being influenced like on the back end to happen. Like, I need people to pay attention a little bit more, like divide and conquer. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to distract us, and they're trying to divide and conquer us. And by any means necessary, they're doing it. Like, if it's the male versus female, because you're seeing that now, like they're trying to get males and females to hate each other and this and that, or it's black and it's white. No, these are socio-economical issues that we have going on at this point. So realize that, like really realize that. And to the black community and just the nation in general. But let me focus on the black community. We have to release ourselves from these mental shackles.
For sure.
Like, that's where we are right now. We got to stop, like, we have to stop killing ourselves, and the ones that are, we need to police our own communities. Like, it's as simple as that. The Panthers did it back then. Like, they stood up against police violence, but people that look like them, that were harassing their communities, they stood up for that too.
Mm-hmm.
And Huey P. Newton, one of the founders of the Black Panther Party, he was a humanitarian.
Mm-hmm.
He loved people, and he stood up for injustices anywhere and everywhere. And to piggyback off that, now with the nation, we need more people to be leaders. There's not enough leaders. Like, everyone is scared of backlash, of standing up and doing the right thing. No, there can't be any more of that. And I understand to a certain extent why people are afraid of that. You know, they got their own jobs, they got their own families. They don't want to risk being fired or woo-woo-woo, or even being, honestly, like, killed, assassinated, because that's what happened to all the leaders back then. You look at Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Huey P. Newton, Fred Hampton, even of Chicago. Like, they were killed for standing up. But, like, we're at a point in time where, like, if you want to have a family in the future, if you want to see your kids thrive, if you want to just see this nation thrive in the future, like, this is the time where we take a stand. Like, you have, like, if you know better, you do better. Heavy is the head. Heavy is the head. So if you know better, you got to do better. You got to take a stand, because people need leaders now. And if you got good leaders and they got people that's going to step up and put in the work, it'll work. It's going to take time. It's not going to be easy. And I did this for a little bit in 2020. So, you know, like, when COVID had first happened and everything was going on, I got with one of my frat bros. And that, again, this is the time I read the book about the Black Panther Party. And we were trying to start our own organization. And I will say one thing that was interesting to me. There were so many women that were on board, and it was cool to see, because, man, I truly believe the future is female.
No doubt.
But it was also disappointing to see, like, on the male side, like, man, like, step up. Like, this is the time. Like, be leaders. Like, men are supposed to, like, lead. So it's like, where were y'all? But the other thing that was interesting to me is, like, there just wasn't enough people to, like, actually take action. Like, we wanted, we drew up our own new 10-point planning platform. If you know anything about the Black Panther Party, they had this 10-point planning platform, and it was just basic needs that people need, but that aren't being met, like housing, affordable housing, like nonviolent, or just like get rid of the violence of, like, black people by police officers, things like that, stuff like that. Affordable healthcare, literally basic things. We had this drawn up, we had this organization ready to go, but we couldn't even get people to be on a Zoom call every other Tuesday or Wednesday. Like, there was just no consistency. We couldn't even get the ball rolling. So people are avoiding the work, when at this point in time we need to embrace the work. It's time. So.
And to just comment off that before I lose it, bro, it goes back to being institutionalized in capitalism, right? Because as you're trying to organize, whether conscious or not, or not, the individual, right, is at the end of the day, whether they're trying to organize or not, like, you're busy, right? The next person's busy. The next person's busy. Everybody's trying to stay afloat. We're all trying to stay afloat out here, because because capitalism has made it so that it promotes basically individualism, right? And it promotes, well, you got to go, you know, once you turn 18 or 21 or finish college or whatever, you know, you leave the family and you start your career, and then you have your own family, and all this, you know, this BS structure that they continue to just shove in your face, when at the end of the day, man, when you go speaking on history, and I'm not the biggest historian, but having my interest in history and you know, my mom loving history, so I definitely am in tune. You know, you look back before this millennium, 2000s millennium, last millennium, whatever. Just going back hundreds of years, right? And you look at, you know, Native Americans or earlier tribes or whatever. You know, before slavery, right? Whether it's in Africa or whether it's in Mexico, like when we were indigenous and we had our own ways of lives, right? And we were in control of our own things, and way before the the technologies of today, of phones and TVs and radios and all that, right? Everything that's come about in the past couple hundreds of years. Everything was rooted in the family unit, the community unit. You know, you had a community. And, okay, maybe, you know, on some tribal stuff, like, say, what, the father, you know, the father is gone through whatever circumstance, but you still have the mom, and maybe you still have the siblings, you have the community, you have the older heads. You know, it's like the community is going to look out for each other, right? Yeah. So it's like you may lose, but the community is going to have your back. Whereas here in America, unless you're blessed to, you know, live in a community that's going to have your back and you know, because it's true and it's still there. And honestly, I've been blessed to have a community that's been super diverse, that, you know, I was kind of raised from being an only child and, you know, having a single mother. You know, the community did help raise me, so I was blessed, and that's why I can kind of speak from this perspective. But so many people don't have that luxury, you know. So many people are out here struggling on their own, you know. So many people are grow up without a father, or grow up without a mother, or grow up without either. You know, so many different circumstances where at the end of the day, the individual is forced to be on their own, or feels like they're forced to be on their own, right? And going back to being industrial or institutionalized in capitalism.
I'm still in that, by the way, because that's
go ahead. That's fine. I hope everybody takes that, you know. Let's throw it on a T-shirt, you know. Like, we are institutionalized in capitalism. And once we're able to see and go into your point of just being mentally held back, we as individuals have to see that our everyday struggles are the things that are holding us back from progress, you know. And once we're able to have these conversations, like, not just amongst people that get it, you know, like, we know we get it, right? I know, like, I haven't seen you in 8 years, bro, and we're on this, like, we don't have to say, we didn't even have to come here to know that we're on the same page, you know. Facts. Glad that we are, right? Glad that we're having this conversation, right? Dan and I know we're on the same page, you know. I think the community that we've built here on Northside Plugged, like, or going to college, whatever, like, I feel like more than not, we're on the same page. But it's doing the harder work of talking to the people that, whether they're not, didn't have the luxury or the blessings to get a higher education, or don't have the mental capacity to be able to see, maybe they just don't have the information, right? There's so many factors where at the end of the day, we as people that are privileged, whether it be through knowledge or resources, you know, no matter if you're black, no matter if you're Mexican, no matter if you're white, you know, like, it's up to us to do that hard work and take that initiative, you know. And it's constant checks and balances, bro, because unfortunately, the last thing that I'll say, and I'll pass it off to whoever, is, you know, we're outnumbered, bro. You know, the people that care and the people that are conscious and the people that want to do the work, I mean, maybe we're not, but in the public eye and the perception of everything, and why the work isn't getting done, is because we're outnumbered. And you look in Congress, you know, you look at the Senate, and no matter if you're Democrat or Republican or whatever, you know, both sides are not getting it done.
No.
You know? So.
And I think that kind of, I don't know if this is where I wanted to tangent off, but I'm going to go off your final point of just like, I mean, both sides are at fault here. I know like the left loves to blame the right, and the right loves to blame the left. And I still don't know which side's the left and the right. I always can mess it up. So sorry if I offend your left or your right side. I don't care. I'm still heavy on the belief that the two-party system is flawed, and that the way this country was founded, that there shouldn't have been two parties to begin with. And I think with that party system, and I think it's become more prevalent over the recent history, the past couple years especially, shows that like every issue for people has to be black or white. It has to be like you're on one side or you're on the other. You're on A or B. There's no C and there's no middle ground. I would say I'm always a person that tries to go for the middle ground, tries to get what's best for both sides, not just seeing one side or the other. Like being able to look at both sides, see why they feel each way, and at the end of the day, I always want to make both sides equal and try to make it so both sides can be content with what happens. But I feel that is those people like us who want to be in the middle and want to help both sides and try to get that are outnumbered, because at the end of the day, people love to people love to pick a side. And like it doesn't matter what it is. It's whether it's movies, whether it's sports, whether it's politics, whether it's fast food restaurants. Like there's always a side. People who ride, no one wants to ride the middle and try to pick the third party, because it's always A or B. It's always this or that. It's always one or the other. You know what I mean? So I do. It does seem like we're outnumbered at the end of the day, but I do think that hopefully, and I hope to be a part of that change that tries to calls the people into action that just act in their self-interest rather than the interest of the betterment of the society or the nation. And that's 90% of politicians in Washington.
And just to piggyback on your point about the two parties we have, like I need it to be known too that the fact that when this nation was started, those people or those gentlemen, those guys that started this nation, they weren't idiots. They weren't dumb. They were actually very intelligent. And those two parties, that's another technique used to divide and conquer. You put people on one side or the other, that's division.
There, boom.
Yeah, like it's just the smallest thing. You don't even think, but yeah, that's division. Yeah, so that's another point I wanted to make.
Just one small social construct, you know. I don't know if you've seen Loki, but it's just like one little thing, right? Just breaks off the whole branch, right? And it's just like it's just screwed up, dude. And you know, that's why it's such a blessing to be able to have a platform like this and to be able to talk about these things, because you know, it just, these things are happening, you know, these things are happening. Kids are dying. Kids are still in cages, right? Like, racism is still profound, whether it's, you know, seen or not or whatever. Like it's just as prevalent as it's ever been. America is screwed up, and we have to like come to the conclusion that we're screwed up, and from the top of the line, we're screwed up, you know, and when we have to choose between, you know, a super incompetent former, you know, self-entitled, like self-righteous, narcissistic, former, what's it called, celebrity star, reality TV star, or Mr. Sleepy Joe, you know, who's sleeping on the job, whether he, you know, whether we want to accept it or not, you know, things are not going well. And at the end of the day, it's sad to see. It gives a very hopeless feeling, and I know it's easy to feel like, you know, the world is crumbling right before our eyes, the country is crumbling before our eyes. Partly, yes, because it is, and again, we have to accept that, and we have to acknowledge it, and we have to come to terms with it, just like in our own lives. You know, we have to look at ourselves straight in the face and be like, damn, I'm effing up. You know, I'm screwing up. Or, you know, we have to look at ourselves as a country and accept that this is our virus. You know, race issues, gun issues, everything. You know, just the focus solely on money rather than focusing on just living the American dream, right? Like, what happened to that? What happened to... I mean, I don't know, bro, because at the end of the day, this country has always been what it is, right? Yeah. And that goes back to accepting what is, right? So with us coming to accepting, I go back to asking, what do we do, right? I don't know.
And I don't think there's an easy answer to that. And I think that's what kind of we've all been saying, is that we want change, we want reform, we want action. But it's not going to be easy, and I feel like we've said it every time we have a political discussion, that the changes that needs to be made in this country are not going to be easy, and it's not going to be done with the snap of the fingers, one bill, and then it's done. Like, it's going to take a lot of lobbying. It's going to take a lot of people pushing politicians to go to action. You know what I mean? It's going to take It's going to take the people pushing the people that the politicians that represent them in the Senate, in the House, in the whatever, in their state and local governments, their city governments, to push for these regulations for changes that need to be made, long overdue in this society on multiple fronts. And it's just, I think it's easy to get on social media and share something and be like, something needs to happen. And that's the kind of, we talked about it a little bit, but just kind of, it's the minimal effort. It's the lowest tier of what you can do to help when there's so much else that can be done. And I mean, I'm definitely one of those people that needs to do more. I think I'm calling myself out as well. I'm not saying I'm doing the most to get the changes that I want to see in this country. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not calling from a place of high and mighty. Like, I too myself do the bare minimum. And I think, especially as a white male, it's as someone who comes from that line of white men fucking things up for, oh, excuse me,
25 in the jaw.
Oh, jeez, I can't believe I just did that. But that's just how I feel about that. Like, just white men screwing things up for everyone else, and they always have to make it so it's easier for them versus everyone else. And I think as a white man, it's important for me to step up and be like, yeah, we've messed up. Yeah, we've done a lot of terrible things, but there is a need to change, and there is a need for us to finally do something about all the wrongs and all the messed up things that are happening in this country on a daily basis that continue to kind of just get pushed to the side and seen as, oh, that's just how America is. That's just how our country is. That's messed up. Like that so many school shootings have happened this year. That's not normal. It's not normal. And people and Americans decide to say that as normal, and politicians are like, it's a necessary evil. That's absolute horse crap. That's horse manure. That's absolute baloney. Like these are not necessary evils. Like, I don't care how much you love your assault rifles and you love having the freedom to have your gun room in your large ranch house in the middle of Texas. Like, that's irrelevant to the safety of the people of the greater nation. Like, stop being so selfish in your own bubble and realize that there's a bigger world outside your 50-acre ranch in the middle of the desert or your small apartment in Dallas, Texas. Like, there's so much bigger, and there's so many other people that are affected by this, that if you get outside your bubble and try to see what others are going through and have empathy for the people that are hurting right now, then you'll see that change needs to be made.
I do want to make a comment on, obviously this isn't going to be the sole thing that's going to create all the change we need, because there are so many issues that need to be addressed in this country, and there's so many changes that need to be made. But I would like to quote Malcolm X. Like I said, I studied him. He's one of my heroes. I read his autobiography. I think anybody could benefit from reading that book, Autobiography of Malcolm X by I think Alex Riley. But at one point he said, everything changes when the black gangster becomes political. And I also want to say this. Everything is political with myself because I'm a black man. Being a black man, that's the most political thing I can be. And he said that as well. But everything changes when the black gangster becomes political. Because what happens when they start to advocate for like gun laws and rights and change? Just think about it. I want y'all to ponder that. I'm not gonna say anything more than that, but that's just something that came across my mind.
Absolutely, man. At the end of the day, in terms of like math, it's like how many more people can you get to care, right? Because so many of people that are involved in street violence, right, or in a gang or whatever, don't give a crap. Right, they only care about their situation or surviving basically, right, and being there with their set, and just that's their family, right? Because that's again being institutionalized in capitalism, through life circumstances. That's the only route that they know because they weren't given any other opportunities, right? Or maybe that was just the only route that they saw and chose or whatever. So Chris is absolutely right, and I haven't done as much reading, but for whatever reason, ever since I was a kid, bro, like Malcolm X, I always had an affinity for Malcolm X for whatever reason. He stood on everything he stood for. Ever since I was a young child, bro, like just spoke to my heart, and it was crazy because I remember like I used to be doing sketches. and I don't have it anymore, but like I did a freehand sketch of Malcolm X. It's like a side portrait of him, you know. Which is on the side. Yeah. I don't know if he's like doing that technically, but he was just on the he's on the side. It was like a side profile, but so yeah, no, I just really appreciate that, man, and I think, you know, given that Martin Luther King obviously had such a strong just the activist that he was and everything that he stood for, being so strong, it was definitely easy for Malcolm X sometimes to kind of fall under the cracks and not so much not be appreciated, but be misunderstood, his message, you know, and I think people thought sometimes that he's too hard. And go ahead.
It's a comment. Let's talk a little bit about that, because like to comment on that is, again, we see the divide and conquer method. Right. Like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, they had ultimately the same goals, but it's like they went about it different ways. But the media tried to divide and conquer them. Yeah. Like they just did it. And what's interesting though, near the end of both of their lives, they started to see the other one's perspective a little bit more than
flip.
Yeah. So it's like then it's like okay, and they only met like one time in their lives, but it's like probably that one meeting is just to see what you're doing and see what you're doing and see the impact we both have. Like, don't let them do that. Yeah. Don't let them split us up, because again, divide and conquer is all distractions. So, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no. And to add to that, actually, and to speak from an outside perspective and to kind of overstep in a sense, but you kind of, from that point, right, in terms of divide and conquer, you have two black figures, activist figures, right? You have Malcolm X and you have Martin Luther King. Now, fast forward to 30 years later, right? Times evolve, things change, everything. Now, you know, hip hop is becoming super prevalent in the black community. Sure, mainstream, but you know, it's the core is the black community, and you have activists rising again in, I mean, so many different artists and different people. But
I think I like where you're about to take
Tupac,
this.
right? And you have Biggie, and what happens? Different scenario, but same thing. Both get gunned down because both have very strong opinions. Both are representing the black community in different aspects and in different locations of the country. And sure, you know, have different viewpoints, but at the same time, they're going the same route. But and then look what happens, right? Going back to your point, history repeats itself. You know, so
because the media drove that beef as far as they could, like anytime
to divide it.
Yeah, I talk to my mom about it sometimes, like, you know, older family members, and just to see how much, and even just doing my own research, seeing how much they used to be on the news, them talking about a rap beef. Yeah, they drove it as far as they could, and it was just that was ultimately going to be the end. And like you probably know, I'm a huge fan of Tupac. You know, I shaved my head and I do it. I mean, it's interesting. I shaved my head around the same time he did, as far as age. He did. And he was a huge inspiration. But like his mom, well, you know, was a Panther, and his stepfather, if I'm not mistaken, was a Panther. And he was so intelligent. Yeah. Like he was inspired by Marvin Gaye. You know, what's going on? That's one of like the first records that was like a conscious record, and he put that in his music. And then even like advocating for, like, I think it was someone at one point that was being abused by an off-duty police officer, and then Tupac actually stood up and fought back against them. I think he discharged a weapon or whatever, but he beat the case because the cop was in the wrong. Like he was in the wrong. Right. And it was, like you said, history repeats itself. If you pay attention, if you read in between the lines, you see like something amiss is going on. I also wanted to piggyback off something you said earlier. I love comics, and I love how you made the Loki reference. But earlier I said like the country is like in a state of constant fear, right? Well, I want y'all to think back to like the technique that a DC character Batman uses. What does he use? Fear, correct? How much of this is manipulation going on too in this country? Like, because fear is a heck of a tool. Yeah. Fear is a heck of a tool. If you know how to use fear the correct way, you can control people. For sure. So I think we really have to, like, everybody has to mentally free ourselves and read in between the lines and see what's going on. Because we have to get back to just being human beings, people, like showing love, showing empathy, uniting, because we can beat this. Like, it's not going to be easy, but we have to, like, really understand what's going on. Like, things don't always be a coincidence. Like, something is going on.
For sure.
So
The higher society is underground. We see you, higher societies, watching Northside Plugged, scheming on our downfall, talking about this progressive and proactive conversation. But absolutely, absolutely. You know, it's all about waking up. Dan, were you going to say something? Oh, okay. Excuse me. It's all about waking up, man, and it's a reality check at the end of the day. You know, we kind of summing it all up is we all have to take the responsibility, and we all have to take it upon ourselves to take. My big thing this year has been initiative, you know, and anything in your life, you got to take initiative. And in this case, every single person here has a responsibility to take that initiative in whatever form that takes in their lives, you know, whether it's going to the polls, or if you know somebody that's, you know, kind of going down a path that you see is like, whoa, you know, like if it's a close one, you got to keep that person in check, you know. And the thing is, like, with mental health, I mean, that's a whole other debate that we don't have too much, you know, we can go a whole other episode talking about it, but it's just like every scenario is so different, and everybody's how they process with their mental health, you know. There's so many different cases and scenarios, and so many different people need to be treated so specifically, you know, where again, we don't have the right programs, we don't have the right resources, we don't have the right situations to help those people in the masses, you know. So at this point, it's either, you know, like you go to the polls and you get your politicians in who you want to get in, but it's like at that point, you've done what you can in terms of that route, you know. And it's like if those people aren't going to do what they have to do, then we the people have to do it, because at this point we're just going to go in circles. If they ain't going to do it, we got to do it. So go and do it.
And do y'all mind if I share an experience that I just recently had real quick?
Ahead.
So like I said, I was a teacher, and I was working at a school on the south side of Chicago. I started in September. I knew something was amiss when I first got hired, and there was a whole new staff. It was probably like 2 or 3 returning teachers. And I just knew something was off then. But and this was in September. So, you know, as I stayed there, I just noticed other things that were wrong. And sometimes it was little stuff, like sometimes the kids, you know, I had my own homeroom, 6th graders. The kids would come up to me and say, you know, Mr. Orange, you know, my stomach is hurt, you know. So I look at the food, the stuff that they're being served, and a lot of times it looks like prison food.
Sure.
First of all, the prison to the pipeline to, like, the school to prison pipeline is a thing.
Very similar, yeah.
You look at the food they're being served, it doesn't always even look visually appealing, but I'm smelling the milk sometimes. It's spoiled.
It's all curdled, yeah.
It's spoiled. So it's like, who's constantly allowing this to happen? Why haven't y'all switched the company that's bringing this milk? I'm upset because these things are happening. And then I'm seeing other issues in schools, because I have a huge issue with what's going on in the school system. And let me just, I love history, so I'm going to just point this out. The free breakfast programs in a lot of places started by the Black Panthers. Like, they had a free breakfast program that they started, and then it was like taken on by the nation.
Really?
After a while.
That's awesome.
So for them to try to condemn the Black Panther Party as they were like communists or something, just do your own research, and then you'll see what they really stood for. And that's how I'm gonna leave it at that. But there were other issues, like just kids. The school was kind of ran like a military school, let me say that too. And they want us to do that. Like, well, these kids aren't robots, first of all. They're just coming back into school, and they were just hybrid. Like, they lack social skills, so they're 2 years socially behind.
Right.
So we're trying to get them up to date with that. But then you add to the fact that they got other stuff going on in their lives. Like I said, this is the south side of Chicago, so it's like people that are missing their family members, or parents that have been killed or died or whatever, or maybe in jail, or just anything, suffering abuse, things like that. And you want us to get these kids to do solely just this or this and that, and we're not addressing those issues. And then we're losing counselors, we're losing teachers day by day by day by day by day. People are calling off each day. The kids are seeing this, and it's they're almost probably feeling like it's reflecting on them. They constantly seeing teachers leave, they feeling like the teachers leaving on them, you know?
Exactly.
Then there's bullying issues, whether it be in person or on social media. And then they're bullying the teachers, or not bullying, but harassing the teachers, finding their social medias. And the administration is doing nothing about it. But then you get someone like me that really cares and loves the responsibility of my job, because I know the impact I have And I speak about these things and I bring it up and trying to figure out programs for these kids outside of school, keep them busy. Because, idle mind is probably the worst thing kids could have at this point. And addressing these issues, like things that need to change. You know what they did? They got me up out of there. Helped break up a fight, and they tried to fire me for that and tried to spin it in the fact that I was an angry black man. And
they were waiting for that excuse. They were waiting for something to happen. The first thing that was didn't matter.
And what's interesting is then this happened in March. What's interesting is in February we actually had a meeting that they even said in the meeting, well, you get one strike, and then you put on an important performance improvement plan, PIP, and then I didn't get any of that. They got me out of there as soon as they could for a BS reason.
They had their agenda.
Yeah, and tried to flip it. So this is just an example of what's going on in one school in the south side of Chicago. And this is a network of 3 schools, by the way. So you can probably imagine if it's going on in one school, it's going on in all 3.
For sure.
But then you can expand that what's going on into CPS and then what's going on across the nation. Yep. I got a buddy in Atlanta. He was working as a sub. And he was just relaying the information that he was seeing or just the experience he was going through, and it was like, man, he's having the same issues out there. That's why he stopped, because he didn't want to go any further. The school system is in shambles right now, so that's a huge issue that needs to be addressed.
And it was in shambles before the pandemic, and now there's a pandemic on top of it. I just wanted to add that.
So that's the experience I wanted to share with y'all. I haven't spoken on it publicly. I haven't really addressed it even with a lot of my personal friends, but and that's why, again, I gotta thank you. I gotta thank y'all for bringing me on, because I really wanted a platform to be able to express my thoughts, my ideas, my experience, and just give some perspective of what's really going on. Yeah. Shout out to Marvin Gaye, what's going on. But what's really these are the things that's going on. Kids are being mistreated. Their well-being and their best interests aren't being put first. It's all about money. Yeah, all they're worried about is
institutionalizing capitalism.
Yes, that's why I love that statement that he institutionalized in capitalism. It's the perfect example, because they're worried about getting these kids just simply here just for the money.
Yep. So that they can go up, become an employee, work for the corporations, so that the corporations can continue to facilitate the country.
Treating them like robots. Flipping people, treating them like robots.
Exactly.
So that's just one of the major issues we have, but I think that's one of the hugest that we have to acknowledge and address, because these are the future leaders of our country. These are children, these are kids, and there is no room to play with that. There's no room for error with that. We got to fix that.
Yeah,
we have to fix that. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do my part. Let me say that too. This is just the very first public statement I've given on that, but I'm gonna do my part. People are gonna know my story. People are gonna know what's going on. I'm going to do that to the fullest extent of which I can. So I'm gonna say that part.
And y'all better believe him, man, for sure, because he's a man of his word. And man, I mean, what better person to have on this platform and to not only represent, of course yourself or Northside Plugged, Q4 Radio, Chicago. I mean, man, you're just such a representation of the good of Chicago, and also just coming from, the things that aren't right about Chicago, right? But no, I mean, thank you for being so vulnerable and being so strong and being so outspoken, because, you are the light in your bubble, right? However far that expands, and you're the inspiration to the people that may, don't know how to, or may just not have the courage to be able to stand up, because there's so many people out here that have a great message and have a great voice and need to be out here. We need your voice, and you just got to suck it up. And as time goes on, the more aware people that see the trends of the Malcolm X's and the Martin Luther Kings and the Fred Hamptons and the Tupacs and the Nipseys, and it goes on and on and on. You get scared. I get scared sometimes, but at the end of the day, we're only here for so long. You're only, maybe we reincarnate, who knows, whatever, but you're only Chris Orange for so long in this realm. I'm only, G Money in this realm. You're only Dan in the, it's like you got to make the best of now, of who you are. Go hard and just go out with the bang. And sometimes, unfortunately, we life is life, to put it in a light term, on a very dark, deeper level of what I'm really explaining. And I hope people understand what I'm saying, because it's a scary world. And the world leaders, the people in power, they want to intimidate us as people. The quote unquote the peasants, right, as they view us or whatever, but we're not. Every person matters. Everybody has the power and the ability to tap into their greatness. And I just, again, thank Chris, and I thank Dan, and I think, we can get to some of those comments because I want to hear what people are saying, but I just thank everybody out here that's doing the work, and understanding that it's bigger than themselves, and we're all one, we're all one, and we're all in this together. The fight is ours. But what are the people saying, BossDan?
Yeah, Rashad Funches shouts out. He was just tagging along, said good point, preach with a lot of the points we're saying, and the quote that he said at the end, and I think this kind of falls along with the history theme that we've been talking about. He said the one thing that we learn from history is that we don't learn anything from history.
That's my brother right there. Shout out Rashad. Yes, sir. That's
yeah,
one of my frat brothers.
Shouts out Rashad. Thank you for tuning in. And it's that the man who doesn't know history is doomed to repeat it. It's like the same thing. I definitely agree with both of those. That we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of Sandy Hook, which is a little closer to home for me, being in New England.
Right.
But when that first came out, being in high school, we were in high school at that point. That was just shocking, and I couldn't believe it, and it just seemed like it wouldn't. And especially being school age at that point, you just got like, is my school? Can this happen in my school? This can happen anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, right. And it's just sad that we haven't learned from that history, and we haven't done anything to really change it. And it's just very sad. Yeah. But like I said, we're all trying to make the conscious effort to make this world a better place than we found it, to set up success for the next generation. Because we might have been dealt a crappy hand in terms of our age group, but we don't want to we don't want to deal a crappy hand for the next generation. So I think it's very important that we try to change and make important decisions that can help the future generations continue to try to be better than their parents. And but it's just leaving it in a hard place right now.
Hey, bell ring to that. Absolutely. I've personally said my piece. Is there anything else that you wanted to say on this topic?
I guess this is my closing statement on the fact that, like, we need to take action. I got a lyric in actually the intro on my album. It's a lyric that says, "Understand my disposition. This here is borrowed time. I can't waste mine." Like, understand my disposition. This here is borrowed time. Can't waste mine. And think about that. Understand my disposition. This is borrowed time. Like you said, we not going to be here for a long time. Me personally, I feel like I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. I'm going to make it a hell of a time. But just knowing the type of person I am and knowing the things that I have envisioned for myself and just how I feel like when I see things of injustices, I'm going to speak on them and I'm going to act on them. I understand that and I accept it. So it's like there's no time to be wasted.
Yep.
And I think more people need to adopt that mentality at this point, because it's all or nothing at this point. Like, because how many times are we just going to allow this to keep happening?
Yep.
Kids to be killed. This racism to just infect this country, like you said, a virus. You got to take a stand. Something has to change.
Yeah. Amen, man. And to kind of close it all out, the fight goes on. Just keep doing your thing. Just keep working hard, don't give up. Don't allow the BS around you to drag you down emotionally, mentally, spiritually, all that, like, even if you feel alone on your message and what you stand for, keep fighting, keep putting in the work. put yourself out there, like be well. Just keep doing, because at the end of the day, like either you're doing or you're not doing, right? I mean, that sounds very simple, but there's a lot of people not doing right now.
There's a dignity in simplicity.
Absolutely. The most simple things, the cliches, all that are the keys to life. The keys to life, and I have confidence, that we can get over this, as dark as things are. I have confidence that, it's not going to be easy, and it probably isn't going to happen in our lifetime, and it's hard, especially with this circumstance, to even think about having kids, right? Like to fathom bringing a child into this world, and I salute all the parents, especially the parents that are our age. Like, oh my goodness,
I know some wonderful ones, by the way.
Yep, same here, man. It's not easy. It's not easy in a normal world, and like, God bless the parents. God bless these kids, right, in this era, because God bless all the healthcare workers, just all the people that are doing good. God bless you all, and keep working, and just know that you're seen out here and you're appreciated, and we salute you, and we're rocking with you. You're not alone. You're not alone. Well, to lighten things up, I know there is basketball going on right now, and I see Mr. BossDan's got that score, and it's making me very happy. We had yesterday's Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals go the BossDan way. So before we get into tonight's game, I know BossDan is chomping at the bit to give his take on his Celtics. So I'm gonna give him that floor.
The Celtics have been good at winning ugly, and last night was
Talk about a whole season, bro. Yep.
And last night was a prime example of like a synopsis of this Celtics season, where the first half you were like, like they're kind of just hanging around, sitting at 500. Second half, whole different team came out with a lot of energy in that third quarter. I think it was a 24-2 run. It just 2 weeks ago you heard me after Celtics lost Game 5 that I had no belief in this team winning Game 6 and Game 7. I think after they kind of made me eat crow on that, I'm now in the belief that this team can do anything. I think especially this series has proven that it hasn't been the best of series. It's been a lot of blowout wins on both sides. It's been a lot of ugly games for both teams. Last night was, and at least in the first half, the closest thing we had to a real close contested ball game until that third quarter 24-2 run, I think it was, by the Celtics. But I think the Celtics know, and they have plenty of playoff. A lot of the younger guys have playoff experience, that they know that it's not over with a 3-2 lead, that there's still 2 games left. They saw that the last series. But going back home to the Garden for tomorrow night's game, I'm feeling very confident in our chances. And I just hope that, we just got to keep the defensive energy like we have all series, and the Heat are a physical team, but so are we, and we just got to kind of fight back and keep bumping along with them. And I think a big sigh of relief last night was that Jalen and Jason had 10 combined points in the first half, and we were still within it. And then they both kind of finally had their shots falling in the second half, and that's what kind of allowed the game to open up. The growth that they've had, especially Jason with his playmaking abilities, to keep himself involved in the offense, even though he missed his first 7 or 8 shots, is a huge testament to his growth as a player. And I feel very great about our chances tomorrow night at the TD Garden moving forward with this series.
It's looking good for y'all. What you got any takes on the Eastern Conference series going on, Chris?
Yes, absolutely. So to kind of give y'all like a little background knowledge, first of all, I'm a diehard Jimmy Butler fan. I'm from Chicago, so to see him come up and just be molded by the city while he was playing. And I remember the day he dropped 50 on the Bulls, like with playing for the Bulls. I'm like, yeah, this guy's special. So I love Jimmy Butler. It's not looking great right now. I obviously I can say that, but here's my thoughts and opinions on that. We have championship pedigree in our coach, Eric Spoelstra. He's won multiple championships. And then we have players who have won championships, Kyle Lowry, PJ Tucker, So there's that championship pedigree. But then when you have a guy like Jimmy Butler, and then you pair that with a guy who had the mentality of a PJ Tucker, you pair that with the mentality of a Kyle Lowry, of a Bam Adebayo, and you look at the guys, the defensive prowess, like Jimmy Butler, PJ Tucker, Bam Adebayo, even Victor Oladipo getting healthy. If we stick to playing Miami Heat basketball and we stick to that Miami Heat culture, if we win one, if we still won in the Garden and we take it back to Miami,
anything can happen in Game 7.
Yeah, I got Heat in 7. Like, if you ask my frat bros, I've been saying Heat in 7 since the beginning because I admire Boston as a team. Like, to see Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum come up and then just both of them are dogs.
For real.
And then a guy like Marcus Smart finally getting the acknowledgement that he deserves. Yeah. And then to see that anchor Al Horford in the defense and Robert Williams is playing out of his mind. He's like an X Factor. He makes me nervous. I'm not gonna lie to you.
For sure. I mean, you guys are just banged up. You know, that's the thing.
Yeah, I think missing Hero has been huge over these past 2 games. Absolutely,
not been easy.
Jimmy hasn't been himself. Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, and like I think it was like Game 4 that the starters had like 18 points or something like that. It's hard to come back. It's hard to win a game like that, and it's hard to win when your starters can't get into good rhythm offensively. And I mean, both have shown that they're great defensive teams and can really mess up a team's game plan on any night. I think that's what the blowouts have kind of shown us. And yeah, I definitely, like I said, I don't want to. I just move on already. I think, like I said, there's still 1 win to go, and I know from the media things I've heard over the past 24 hours following Game 5. Is that the players know that they're not done yet, that there's still 1 more win, and they're not looking past the Heat already. They know that this is a tough team with that championship pedigree from Spoelstra, guys like Lowry and Tucker, like Chris just said. So very much looking forward to tomorrow night. I hope it's a very good game, but I hope to see the Celtics advance to their first finals in a decade.
I feel you. I respect it. I also want to point out Kyle Lowry is out of shape, and that's upsetting me.
Kyle
Lowry is out of shape, and that's upsetting me.
Eating too much of them Cuban sandwiches in Miami, bro. Hitting South Beach one too many times. Drinking too many margaritas. Yeah, man. Nah, I'll be honest with y'all. I could give a rat's booty about the Eastern Conference because my Dubs are looking good and going to hit 101-87 right now over Dallas. I mean, I'm a Texan at heart. You know, that's not a second home, but man, I'm Dub Nation for life, bro. So I'm very happy that we're going back to the finals. It's looking like it's been a long time coming. It's been a few long, hard years, you know. I mean, Clay and Steph with their injuries and all this craziness. But just you got to salute the player development. You know, you look at Keon Looney, you know, I think that's his first name. I always screw it up. Jordan Poole, my dog, you feel me?
The boy's a beast.
He's a dog, you feel me? Finessing Andrew Wiggins, you know, getting him on the squad. They just got the perfect mix of young and I mean, they're not even old, you know. They're still the dogs are still in their prime, you know. So it's an exciting time to be a Warriors fan. Sorry, Mavericks, it's not looking good for y'all. But we gonna see somebody in the finals. That's all I gotta really say. What's your take?
One thing I want to say about this Golden State team. First, Andrew Wiggins, an X factor again. Like him and Jordan Poole are X factors. But if Andrew Wiggins puts on like 10 pounds of muscle, I think it's over with for the rest of the league.
Yep.
I think it's over with for the rest of the league.
It's about time, right?
Yeah. Like if he puts that work in the weight room, I think he could probably lock anybody up. Yeah. And he can get to his shot anywhere. He's just so athletic. So you put on that muscle, you make yourself more durable and stronger. Like that's scary. Second, Draymond Green, man. Somebody called him a role player the other day.
What?
I'm like, for this team, for this Golden State team, he's so much more than a role player. He is the glue. He is the heart and soul of that team. He's the glue of the team.
They're not a championship team without him.
And to see him play, I love watching. The guys I like to play the most. The guys that I like to watch play the most. Guys like Draymond Green and PJ Tucker. They do the dirty work. Yep. They do so much of the dirty work.
Bev?
No,
Pat Bev's a different beast.
Pat Bev is a different beast. Shout out to Chicago. He's from the West Side
absolutely,
too.
Yep.
But to see a guy like Draymond Green like be so selfless and just make plays for the rest of the team, for the team to just win, just that winning culture, I think it's beautiful. And just to see Clay back healthy, like, man, I think people are so quick to ridicule the fact that he's not in that playing shape yet, but it takes time. Like, if you understand basketball, you got to get your rhythm.
For sure.
That's why I think Paul George used to go, like, fishing, just to kind of get that peace and peace of mind. Like, you got to catch your rhythm. So when he catches his rhythm, which he will, I think, in the next year, but even if he get hot in the playoffs, it's going to be tough for whoever they play in the East.
For sure, man.
And Steph is just Steph.
Steph is Steph.
Like,
Steph.
man.
But that's the thing. It's like, I mean, yeah, Clay's not like fully Clay, but I mean, he's damn near 75-80% Clay Thompson. You feel like? I mean, he's had some good games. I mean, he's not quite the consistent as he was, but I mean, again, like you said, he's getting his legs back. I mean, he came back in the middle of the season from a torn ACL and whatever, like 2 major injuries that, like, takes a lot of work and effort to even get back, like, to be able to walk, let alone play basketball, let alone play at the NBA, in an NBA level, let alone play in the like the playoffs, let alone to a championship level, right? So, but I mean, thank God for Jordan Poole, bro, because I mean, if they don't have Jordan Poole, they're not here, like he picks up everything that Clay lacks and more, and then having Andrew Wiggins, balling out and kind of going back to your point, bro, it's like, especially after this year where he builds all this, the past couple of years since he's been a Warrior, basically, he's been building up his confidence, and now he's been to the playoffs. He might win a championship. He's first-time All-Star. Say he puts on that 10 pounds. The league is looking scary because, I mean, you look at Steph, you look at Clay. I mean, you look at Reggie Miller, right, and how he, as he got older, and even more so Ray Allen as he got older and how he extended his career in terms of his shooting prowess. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson on the same team, like, they could be 38, 39, and all they're doing is shooting. While you got the young Bucks, Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole, if they can still afford them in their prime, just doing the heavy work, and all you got is these dudes just splashing threes, just blowing the records out of the building. It's the league should be terrified of the Warriors right now.
Because it makes you think then, like, what if they take the Tom Brady approach? Like, what if they take the fact that, okay, we've won so many championships, we've made so much money, we've signed so many max contracts. Let's let these younger guys do it now. What if they decide to do that and they take not better minimum deals, but they take team friendly deals, and then you get a guy like Andrew Wiggins get a max if he earns it, or if you see a guy like Jordan Poole keep putting in the work and he get a max, and they get to keep that core together. That is scary.
Yikes.
That is scary. Scary thought.
Yeah. What you think about the West Side, Boss Dan?
I mean, the Warriors just continue their domination. I think I agree with everything you guys just said. That it's like that the way that Steph and Clay play can go on for another almost decade of play, and just like the way that the Warriors have set themselves up for the present and the future is very well done, and they're just an organization that's really turned themselves around in the past dozen plus years, I think, of change. Like drafting Steph and Clay and Draymond and the way their team's just kind of grown through those three. And Steve Kerr and the whole organization has just been amazing and astounding, and it's only going to continue to get better. And I think, I mean, they're up 14 with 7 minutes left in Game 5, so it's we can kind of not count out Dallas fully, but
they out of there.
It's not looking great for the Mavericks.
They gone.
It's just wild that it only took they had like a 2-year not a rebuild, more like a retool, and then they're back into the finals. So it just shows the testament of their players and their offense and their schemes and their organization, that there were the bubble year and then last year where it didn't count for them, and they just kind of back where they were.
Just development, man. Development. My last question, and then I'm gonna leave it to Boss Dan to finish out or close out any topics that he wants to. But I just want to ask you, Chris, in the spirit of Chicago, right? How you feeling about our Bulls and right now? And we've got a big decisions with Zach LaVine, right, this summer. And what are you thinking? our future entails.
Man, first I want to say the Bulls are just so frustrating because they let Jimmy Butler go.
Yup.
Like Jimmy Butler's in the Eastern Conference Finals at the moment.
We're salty right now,
But
for sure.
man, I don't know what we should do with Zach LaVine because he's talented. You know, he balled out a little bit of this year, definitely last year.
Mm-hmm.
But when you got him and DeMar DeRozan, it's like, man, do you pick one? And then it's like, if you pick one, which one do you pick? Because I mean, obviously, Zach LaVine has way more years ahead of him.
Real.
But then you have the fact that he's been kind of injury prone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, do you give him a max deal? Because it's like risk. It's risky.
Yeah.
So me personally, I wouldn't necessarily be upset if he didn't get a max deal and he doesn't re-sign, because I mean, maybe that money could go to somebody a little bit more dependable. Maybe I don't know. I don't want to say Donovan Mitchell or anything like that, because I don't think that's gonna make
Jordan Poole, maybe. Just throwing it out there.
Jordan Poole, maybe.
Oh, I would love that.
Man,
I would love that.
that would be something else.
Yeah.
I think we need if we lose Zach, I think we definitely need a 4, man. Like we need a solid 4.
What if we could finesse DeAndre? I know he's a 5, but DeAndre 8 from the Suns.
He's not happy. He is not happy. Like I could definitely see who do we have right now? What's his? I can't.
Vooch.
Yeah. What if Vooch went to the Suns? I could see a skilled guy like him playing really well with Devin Booker, because that pick and roll would be nasty.
Yeah.
But to get that defensive presence from DeAndre Ayton, that'd be tough.
That'd be bussin'.
But I ain't gonna lie to you, who I really want is Jeremy Grant.
Okay, that would be that would be dope.
Yeah.
That would be dope.
That'd be a great
He's a
fit.
baller.
I think that would be a great fit.
Well, they were thinking. I mean, it's Pat Williams, man. They're trying to see what's up with Pat, you know, and that's because if they weren't so tight on Pat, we would have traded for Jeremy Grant. We would have traded him and maybe Kobe White or something, whatever, you know, for Jeremy
I like
Grant.
that.
I'm ready to get Kobe White out of here, bro. To be honest, he's decent, but he's too. And I know he was injured, but he was too inconsistent. And there was one instance where that told me, I was like, nah, it's time to go. It's time to go, Kobe White. And being a point guard, like, I've been there, so I understand it. But I remember there's this one point during the playoffs against the Bucks, bro. He's bringing, and this happened twice, I think, in the same game, like almost back-to-back possessions. He's at home. He's bringing up the ball as the point guard, right? Bringing it up the half court. And literally is just so loose with the ball. I think it was Drew, and mind you, it's Drew Holiday, right?
Yeah,
but he got ripped up just straight up cookies. Just took it, bro. And I'm like, nah, dog. Like it was just like scary. It was like visibly scary. Like he was afraid to bring the ball up the court because he knew he was gonna get ripped up.
See, in cities like Chicago and New York, you can't do that because the people will get you out of there. They get in your head and it's over with.
Yeah, and we see that, bro, and it's like, nah, dog, you can't. Get Io in there, bro. Io's not scared, you know. He may not be as consistent with the threes, but and that's what I didn't understand. I'm like, at the time, I'm like, why is Io not bringing up the ball? Like, Kobe is a decent point guard, but I need him shooting. Like, I don't want him bringing it up. He's too floppy. Like, I see too much of myself in Kobe White, and I used to be turning the ball over all the time, bro, as a point guard. So I see where that's happening.
It's just so interesting to see that he'll probably go to another team and ball out, because it's
exactly
like
that's what happens.
Chicago just don't be a good fit for a lot of players.
No.
Like even was it Bobby Portis, to see him go somewhere else and just
he's balling.
ball and win a ring.
Yeah.
So sometimes it just ain't the right fit, you know.
Yeah. But at least we have a better front office, you know. So it's like we're going in the right direction. Coach, exactly, all that. Hey, we might finesse Kevin Durant. Who knows? You know, KD's not happy, so we got options. We not worried.
That'd be sick.
Y'all keep KD.
That would be sick.
Y'all keep KD.
You don't want KD?
No.
Hey, I would given the right. I mean, I don't want to give up too much, but I would take KD with the right circumstance for sure. But
after that sweep on them,
yeah, that's the thing, bro. It's like, but I mean, they did not have a squad. You know, Kyrie's in his own world, in his own flat world, in his own flat unvaccinated world. Hey, I mean, it's your choice is yours. You know, I ain't knocking that. I'm not knocking that. But yeah, so thank you for your take on the Bulls.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
BossDan, I know your Red Sox have been in the Windy City. I don't know. You got any final sports takes for us?
I was there on Tuesday for the 16-3 win, and I was really
16-3 win.
I was really glad that was the only game I went to, because that was the perfect Red Sox game for me to appear at for the one time, maybe possibly the only time I see them this year, be as a fan. Just 4 runs from the start. It was just great to be in that ballpark. I love going to guaranteed rate, so I was just excited to go to a baseball game without having to work.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the Red Sox just getting off to that hot start, it was just a perfect night for me to be at the ballpark. White Sox won yesterday, but the Red Sox are winning the rubber match right now.
Sox.
And the Red Sox are just getting hot right now. I mean, Trevor Story's having an unbelievable month of May. He's finally earning that contract, as everyone was complaining about in April and all the Boston radio stations. He's just been on a tear this whole month of May, and the offense is finally playing to its potential. And as long as the pitching can kind of stay somewhat consistent and somewhat okay, then we should be able to sneak into a wild card position. I mean, the Yankees are playing some of the best baseball right now. The Rays and the Blue Jays will also be contending, so we just got to kind of focus on what we can control, and hopefully the offense can continue its onpouring and its hot streakingness. I don't know if that sounded right, but that's all.
We got it.
That's all I have to say about the Red Sox, I guess. And I'm just happy I got to see them, and I'm happy I got to see a lot of offense when I went.
Yeah, no, I'm happy. I'm sad that the Sox lost, but I'm glad you had that experience for yourself.
That's all right. The Sox have been struggling with injuries as well. I mean, without Eloy, without Lubob, with a lot of injuries in the rotation as well, with Lance Lynn, Giolito was hurt for a little bit. They've just had the injury bug, and it's been hard for them to get consistent when on a consistent basis when some of their best players haven't been able to stay healthy. Right. So usually the team that performs the best in the regular season is the one that stays healthy. So if they can just get healthy and have everyone in the lineup on a consistent basis, then I think they'll be in a good position. Because I don't see the Guardians or the Twins being a threat when it comes September, October. I still think it's the White Sox division to lose at this point, as long as they can get everyone healthy. So,
well, thank you for those kind words, BossDan. Us Chicagoans appreciate your perspective, because we've been losing a long time, man. But yes. Well, we are slowly getting towards the end of our show. It's been a great episode, a very thought-provoking and very important, one of our more important episodes of Northside Plugged. But before we wrap up and go, I wanted to open the floor up for Chris one last time. If there's any, just promotions you want to put out there, any shout-outs. I know you've got music out there that maybe you want to mention again, and if you want, before we go out, we can play that track if you want. We can write it out.
Yeah, I would love to debut that on here.
Yeah. If you want to, did you send it by chance?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Awesome. So, BossDan, in the meantime, if you don't mind, search Gmail or our email.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, email. But in the meantime, if you just want to, your final words, final piece, anything that you want to say, now's the time for you.
Yeah, I mean, if y'all was following everything that I was saying, if you like what I said, if you rocking with the vibe, follow me on Instagram at Hollywood_6. I got 2 projects out at the moment. One was Undrafted. And I think the title means everything that it was, Undrafted. Then I had a project called The Segway, and, keep it going. The next project I'll drop is another EP. Those are 2 EPs, by the way. And the title is actually named Heavy as the Head. The tone, the theme of it all is going to be very similar to everything that we talked about today. It's very activist-ish. Yeah. But then so that'll drop next month, and I'm actually I got some really good features on there, like you said, from J Mel, a homie from high school.
Shout out J Melly.
Yes, sir. Shout out to J Melly, man. That boy putting in work.
For sure.
And the album coming out in the summer. I want to say an August release, but a West Side Story. That's my baby. That's my masterpiece. That's my Mona Lisa. I worked, like I said, almost 2 years on it, and it's coming to fruition, everything that I wanted it to be. So I'm excited. So yeah, check it out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We'll definitely stay in the loop with Chris. And what's your artist name?
Solid 6.
That's the artist name too, right? All right. So stay in tune with Chris /Solid 6. He's been working hard. He's got a lot coming out. So stay in tune with the project, and stay in tune with us. We'll keep you in the loop with him. Are you not finding it, BossDan?
I cannot find it. Could you try to send it again, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
In the meantime, we'll Jeopardy it while he sends it. No.
Quick,
Go ahead, boss.
quick RIP to Ray Liotta,
Yes.
who
R.I.P.
died.
Ray Liotta.
Legendary. Just so many great roles over the years. I mean, Goodfellas is the one of the go-tos, but he also Field of Dreams and a lot of other roles like that he's kind of impacted Hollywood in his own way, and he always kind of fits the stereotype of some of the roles he played in his later career. But from all I see from people online is that they have nothing but great things to say about Ray Liotta as a person, and I've only heard good things about it. So I just want to thank him for all that he did to impact our society and our culture, and I'll always remember him as I don't know. He'll just always be remembered as an icon in Hollywood.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, rest in peace to Ray Liotta. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm trying to think, is there anything else?
I do have a question for y'all. Like, is there any
Yes,
like?
sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No,
Is
go
there any movies that y'all recommend, or any movies that y'all caught maybe recently? Because I am a huge movie buff, and recently I've been like just infatuated with like these mafia movies and all these Al Pacino movies.
Al Pacino, yes, sir.
like, so.
I love Al. Oh, in terms of recently, I mean, the only like new movie that I've seen was the Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
You know. What about you, BossDan?
What I saw recently, which I recommend to everyone who asks me this question, is called Everything Everywhere All at Once. It came out, I believe, in April. It might still be in theaters, depending on what theater you go to. But it's a mostly Asian cast. It's about this woman who's kind of thrown into the multiverse and has to save society as we know it. And it was a very phenomenal movie, and it kind of just had me on the edge of my seat the whole time. So I definitely recommend that. In terms of mob movies and gangster movies, I rewatched Goodfellas today when I heard the news. So I definitely recommend Goodfellas. Then it said recommend underneath. It did say The Departed, so I had to watch The Departed for Boston. Just to hear all the good and the bad Boston accents that the actors have in that movie. Alec Baldwin's Boston accent is probably my favorite because it's just so over the top that I have to laugh at it whenever he says things. It's just so funny. But yeah, those are like in terms of mob movies, I would recommend those. But Everything Everywhere All at Once is definitely the one that, if it's still in theaters, I would highly recommend seeing it in theaters before it leaves.
I just recently watched The Irishman, and I'm like,
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's on Netflix, bro.
Yeah, I gotta check it out.
Man.
Yeah,
And that's now I don't say this often, but that is a long movie.
It is
3.5 hours. And to be fair, it didn't really feel long until like the third hour, until like you got past like 2.5 hours, and you're finally just like, all right, like this is kind of getting long, like a little bit. But I definitely like that one. And I mean, Scorsese, De Niro, and Pacino. I mean, Scorsese, De Niro, and Pesci. The three of them together just continue to make fabulous movies over and over again.
3 movies that I can say that I've watched earlier this year that were on Netflix that are good that you may have not seen, that are newer. One was, I believe, it's called Passing. Have you ever heard of that? It's with Tessa Thompson and I forgot the other actors, but basically it's an all black and white movie, and it's Tessa Thompson. The whole theme of the story is her being a light-skinned black woman passing in a white society, right? So like she can kind of pass as a white woman.
I heard about, what's it called again? Passing. Okay,
Passing,
that sounds
very
really
good
Wow,
movie.
okay. Yeah.
Cinematography of that movie is outstanding. Like just the visuals of it all is amazing. It's a great movie. So that Roma is another one.
Roma's really good.
You've seen it? Yeah, Roma's really good. Story about a young like indigenous Mexican or Latina of some sort. I forgot. Basically, like a true story. Just like her role is like being a maid of a like a kind of upper class family, and just her her perspective and her role throughout it all. Very real life type of movie. Very good. And then the last movie that I saw was Power of the Dog with Benedict Cumberbatch.
I haven't seen that one yet, but I've heard
very
good
movie. Very good movie.
Power of the Dog.
Yeah. Those are 3 movies that I can recommend as being.
Have to write those down.
Yeah.
And,
all great movies.
And the Academy Award winning winner Coda was phenomenal as well.
I don't think I've seen Coda.
It's on
but I know
Apple
what you're talking
TV,
about.
but that one was phenomenal. For children of deaf adults
Right.
is what Coda stands for. Also takes place in Massachusetts, but it is a very compelling story and kind of puts into perspective some of the things that we take for granted when being raised just being raised as children, that some of these children of deaf adults that kind of have to go through in their struggles.
For sure, man. So I hope that answered your question.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I just
So-
lost my Apple TV music subscription, though, because I'm like, man, I'm steady getting charged like $10 from Apple. Like, what's this for?
What's going on, man?
They tricked me into getting it that one time, and I forgot. I'm keep seeing the charge.
No, that's what happens, bro. I remember, what was it? Back in school, just real quick, back in school. What was that thing? I forgot. It wasn't Spark Notes. It was something along that
Cliff
lines.
Notes?
No, I don't think it was Cliff Notes. It was something else.
Chegg?
Chegg, yes, it was Chegg. Yes. Bro, gee, I found out too late how much of a finesse Chegg was. Like, that's the key. And if, like, you pay for Chegg, oh my gosh, they give you the answers to everything in college, basically. But so I ended up paying whatever subscription for Chegg, like, the last couple months of school. And, bro, like, I totally forgot about it. And I found out, like, months later, I was still paying all those charges, bro. I'm like, dang, man.
That stinks.
And they only reimbursed me for, like, half of them. So I was salty, bro.
Capitalism.
Institutionalized by capitalism. Ah!
Institutionalized by capitalism.
Man.
Well, the Warriors have officially advanced to the finals.
Yay.
120-110 in the final score.
Let me do my
Klay Thompson with 32.
Ooh, that's scary.
Steph
Baller.
with only 15 on 5 of 17 shooting.
It's all good.
But Luka was 10 of 28, so he was just throwing all the shots up there. But props to him for continuing to play as a top 5 player in the league. Just continuing to. Hopefully, he'll get some more solid pieces around him in Dallas that can bring him to the finals. Now that he's gotten to the conference finals.
Indeed, but Dubs are there to stay. So, we have the track.
Yep, we got it.
What is our song called? What is your song called?
It's titled Manhood.
Manhood.
Yes.
And real quick, because we'll fade out with the song. What went into? What's the inspiration behind Manhood?
So, well, I hate to be cliche or just I hate to be cliche, but like just thinking about manhood in general. You know, when I was writing the song, I was just thinking about manhood and everything that comes with it in this lifetime. And I also had a mix of emotions going on, like just family, friends, everything that's going on in the world. It was just a day full of emotions, and I'm like, I need to write. I need to make a song about it. And I also was inspired by like one of my ex coworkers who was a teacher as well. She reviewed some of my music, and she was like, I like your sound, I like your thoughts, but it's like you should consider making something with like not so much expletives. And it's like I could rock with it, because it's like I wanted her to understand my story, where I'm coming from, because I can't change my everything.
Right.
But I heard her. And I want my mama to be able to listen to music, my stuff. I don't cuss around my mama, I don't curse around kids. So, why would I expect to play that music around them? So it's like, I need something that really is inclusive. Yeah. So that's where I was with that.
So, well, before we go into it, man, just want to thank you for everything. I'm so glad that we were able to reconnect and get you here, and thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for just everything, everything that.
Thank y'all, man. It's truly been a pleasure. Like I said, the hospitality which y'all brought me out here in, and just the professionalism and just the fun we had with the discussions. Like, this is amazing what y'all are doing. So, man, keep doing it. Don't change anything. Like, it's beautiful what's happening here. So
thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming in.
Absolutely.
And speaking on such important things today.
Absolutely. And the last thing that I'll say is I tell all of our new guests that come on our show, you are a member of our Northside Plugged family.
Let's get it.
So you're in the loop with us now. You're in the in group.
Gang.
What's it called? Gang, squad, all that. But yeah, man, I mean, barring not, hopefully not another pandemic, you know, anything that we got going on, you know, like we were able to collab last year with one of our good friends, Cole, did this thing called Elevate the Community Jam. Like it was like a whole day event where we had like art vendors and b-boy, b-girl dancers and artists performing, like just putting together events to bring the community together, basically. So anything that we got going on like that or whatever, definitely keep you in the loop of that, you know.
I
So
appreciate that so
we
much.
can, for sure, you know, and just immerse the community in everything that we talked about today, you know, and put that into action. So without further ado, again, thank you to all of our listeners. Appreciate you for sticking with us. I know we started a little later, and apologize about that. Apologize to Chris for us being a little bit late. But overall, again, just want to thank you, everybody. Want to thank Chris/Sala6 for coming in. Want to thank Boss Dan, as always. Want to thank all of our viewers, all of our listeners, all of our commenters, everybody at Q4. Shout out to y'all. My name is G Money G Note.
Shouts out to G Money.
Thank you.
For always
Appreciate
being-
it.
for being him.
G-Money.
Much love to y'all. And without further ado, we are Northside Plugged here at Q4 Radio, and we're about to leave y'all out with Solid Six's new track, Manhood. So y'all listen, check it out. Y'all have a great night, and we're going to see you next Thursday over here on Northside Plugged. Deuce!
Peace.
Yeah, Solid 6 Entertainment. I ain't gonna curse on this one. I want my mama to listen. I want everybody to listen. I want the kids to listen. Make it PG for y'all. Put a little cheesy on there. Yeah. Manhood ain't easy, so I ride around and I listen to this Jeezy. On the west side of the hood, and I don't think I'm good. But tall, it's what I stood, it's what I stay. I pray I have a good day, pray my lady stay. Pray these demons go away, pray my ideas to the masses I convey. And I did this all today, and I understand the price that I'ma pay. But it's worth it, so I live it up every day. And I caught my flow and stay. Now give it to him, just go. Tell him everything that you feel and that you know. My father, he put me on to Jeezy. He put me on to Wayne, put me on to Gucci. He put me on to game, but I felt that's all he did. Maybe damaged me and gave me all this pain. But my mama love was like crack, so I couldn't complain. And my girl, she do the same. How I treat her, sometimes it's a shame. And I'm the only one to blame. She don't tolerate it, she got a big brain. She keep me in check, that's a heck of a dame. Yeah. When I saw my sister at my alma mater, I smile and I hug her, we got the same father. Text her on her birthday, I tell her that I love her. And I granny on the same side. When she bring me up, she do it with pride. When he abandoned me, I know she cried. And for my granddaddy, I pray and I sigh. Beat cancer, then watch this brother die. So with my own, I gotta try. I'm big brother, that's why, yeah. Me and my best friend made amends. A lot of my pain, it ends. We family, we ain't just friends. December 1st, since then, we locked in, A gangster spirit dwell in me. Share the same body, it's we. When I'm threatened or in pain, give him control, let him take the reins. I got my weight up to fit the frame. It's really slick, but I say bang. I pray my people, I can change. Turn this brainwashing and all this pain. Manhood ain't easy, so I ride around and I listen to this Jeezy. On the west side of the hood, and I don't think I'm good. But tall, it's what I stood, it's what I stay. I pray I have a good day, pray my lady stay. Pray these demons go away, pray my ideas to the masses I convey. And I did this all today, and I understand the price that I'ma pay. But it's worth it, so I live it up every day. Not here for a long stay. Convey my ideas and my thoughts to the people. It's clear, they need a leader. Feel like Malcolm X, I'm from the West. of the shot. In these lands, Fred Hampton was the guy. Study history, so I know I might die. But I gotta try. Feel like UEP of the shot. If we organize and mobilize, the limit is the sky. So for freedom, I'm willing to die. If we organize and mobilize, the limit is the sky. So for freedom, I'm willing to die.
I was smoking in the Nissan with my brother Sean. Why you think we smoke? Why you think we dope? Manhood ain't no joke. From night terrace, I'll hope, reaching for the tree. It saved me the anxiety from this society. I woke up in a sweat, shirt on, chest soaking wet, and I was out of breath, like Freddy in my dreams, summer threat. But he ain't got me yet. Shirt on, chest soaking wet, I was out of breath, like Freddy in my dreams, summer threat. But he ain't got me yet.